I went to the passport office holding my boyfriend's hand, already exhausted by the idea of waiting in long lines under flickering lights. The building smelled like old paper and impatience. People stood pressed together, clutching documents like lifelines. It was supposed to be simple forms, signatures, stamps. Nothing more. His fingers were warm around mine, familiar in a way that felt safe but dull, like a song I'd heard too many times. We had been together for 2 years. Everyone said we were perfect. I believed them, mostly because it was easier than questioning it. When our turn came, I stepped forward first. That's when I saw her. She sat behind the counter, posture straight but relaxed, dark hair pulled into a loose bun that allowed a few strands to frame her face. Her eyes lifted from the computer screen, and for a moment the noise around me faded. They were calm, observant, brown with a softness that felt intentional. "Good morning," she said, her voice low and warm, like she meant it. Something in my chest tightened. I slid my documents toward her, suddenly aware of my breathing, of the way my boyfriend stood just behind me. Her fingers brushed mine as she took the papers, barely a touch, accidental, harmless. But electricity sparked anyway. She smiled, small and professional, yet there was curiosity in it. "Is this your first passport?" "Yes," I replied too quickly, then laughed nervously. "I mean yes." Her smile widened just a little. As she typed, she asked routine questions, but the way she looked at me made them feel personal. Like she was really seeing me, not just processing me. I caught myself leaning closer to the counter without realizing it. My boyfriend cleared his throat behind me. I stepped back, cheeks warm, reminding myself where I was and who I was with. Still, as we moved to the waiting area, I glanced back. She looked up at that exact moment, and she didn't look away. The waiting area was louder than it needed to be. A baby cried somewhere to my left. A man argued with a clerk through a glass window. Plastic chairs scraped against the floor. Yet all I could think about was the woman behind the counter. I tried to focus on my boyfriend as he talked about travel plans, countries he wanted to visit, photos we'd post, memories we'd make. I nodded at the right moments, smiled when expected, but my eyes kept drifting back. She was still there, stamping documents, answering questions with the same calm tone. Every now and then, she'd glance up. Each time our eyes met, something unspoken passed between us, curiosity, recognition, maybe even understanding. I told myself I was imagining it. After 20 minutes, my name was called again. This time, I approached the counter alone. She looked up and smiled as if she had been waiting for me. "Everything seems in order," she said. "I just need one more signature." She turned the form toward me and pointed. Her hand lingered near mine, close enough that I could feel her warmth without touching her. I signed, aware of how close she was leaning now. "Your boyfriend?" she asked softly, nodding toward the waiting area. "Yes," I said. The word felt heavier than usual. She hummed gently, not judging, not surprised. Just acknowledging. "He seems patient." "He tries," I replied, before I could stop myself. She met my eyes again, this time longer. There was something intimate in the pause, like we were standing in a quieter room together. "You should come back in 2 weeks to collect it," she said. "I'll probably be here." Probably. As I turned to leave, I felt a strange disappointment, like a door was closing before I'd even stepped through it. But then she added, almost casually, "I'm Lena, by the way." I stopped. I said my name, surprised at how softly I said it. "Nice to meet you," Lena said, her smile different now. Warmer. Personal. As I walked back, my heart raced in a way it hadn't in years. I sat beside my boyfriend, but I felt elsewhere. And for the first time, a thought formed that scared me. I wanted to see her again. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Lunch tasted like nothing. Conversation felt forced. My boyfriend laughed at something on his phone, and I laughed too, a second too late. My mind kept drifting back to the passport office, to Lena's voice, her eyes, the way she said my name like it mattered. That night, lying beside him, I stared at the ceiling while he slept. His arm rested across my waist, familiar and comforting, yet something felt wrong. Not bad, just incomplete. I had felt this before, the quiet sense that I was playing a role written for me rather than choosing my own lines. 2 weeks. I told myself I only wanted my passport. That was it. Anything else was imagination. But when the day came, my heart beat too fast as I stepped into the office again. This time I came alone. The waiting area looked the same, but I felt different, aware, alert, almost nervous. When I reached the counter, she was there. Lena looked up, and her face lit up in a way that felt unmistakable. "You came," she said. "So did you," I replied, smiling despite myself. She handed me my passport, our fingers brushing again. This time neither of us pulled away immediately. The moment stretched, fragile and dangerous. "Is he not with you today?" she asked quietly. "No," I said. I told him I'd be quick. She nodded, studying my face like she was reading something between the lines. "Would you like to get coffee?" she asked suddenly, lowering her voice. "There's a place around the corner. If you're not in a hurry." My heart skipped. Every sensible part of me screamed no. Every honest part whispered yes. "I'd like that," I said. At the cafe, conversation flowed easily, too easily. She talked about her job, about feeling stuck yet oddly content. I told her about my relationship, about how everything looked right on paper but felt quiet inside. When our hands touched across the table, neither of us apologized. Outside, as we stood to leave, the air felt charged. Lena hesitated, then stepped closer. "I don't usually do this," she said softly. "Neither do I admitted. She leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. Her lips brushed mine, gentle, tentative, like a question. And when I kissed her back, I knew something had already changed. The kiss was soft, almost hesitant, like we were both afraid of what it meant. Lena pulled back first, her forehead resting lightly against mine. I could feel her breath, warm and uneven. "I'm sorry," she whispered, though her eyes didn't look regretful. They looked afraid. Honest. "Don't be," I said before thinking. And that was the truth that surprised me most. We stood there for a moment, the city moving around us while we stayed still, caught in something fragile and electric. Then reality rushed in, my boyfriend, my life, the expectations I'd never questioned. "I should go," I said, even though my body leaned toward her. She nodded, stepping back but not breaking eye contact. "I understand." But when I turned to leave, she gently caught my wrist. "Can I see you again?" she asked. Not demanding, not hopeful, just open. My chest ached. "Yes," I said. "I want that." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt her lips again, how careful she'd been, how different it felt from every kiss I'd known. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't expected. It felt chosen. Days passed. I found excuses to be out longer, to think more, to feel less trapped. Lena and I texted, nothing dramatic, just quiet check-ins, shared thoughts, moments stolen between responsibilities. When we met again, it was at her place. She offered tea. I barely tasted it. We sat close on the couch, knees touching. When she reached for my hand this time, it wasn't tentative. Her thumb traced slow circles against my skin, sending shivers up my arm. "Tell me to stop," she said. I leaned in instead. This kiss was deeper, still gentle, but sure. Her lips moved against mine with intention, learning me. I kissed her back, hands trembling as they rested on her waist. She smiled into the kiss, and that small smile broke something open inside me. When we pulled away, my forehead rested against hers again. "I think," I whispered, voice shaking, "I'm falling for you." She didn't pull away. "I think," she said softly, "you already have." Falling for Lena didn't feel dramatic. It felt quiet and terrifying, like stepping into deep water without knowing how far down it went. Every time we met, I learned something new about her. The way she listened without interrupting, the way she touched me like I was fragile and strong at the same time. But every goodbye came with guilt. One evening, after we kissed slowly in her kitchen, my phone buzzed. My boyfriend's name lit up the screen. I froze. Lena noticed immediately. She stepped back, her expression soft but knowing. "You don't have to explain," she said gently. But I wanted to. "I can't keep doing this," I said, my voice breaking. "Not like this." She nodded, eyes shining but steady. "Then don't." That night, I told him everything. It wasn't clean or calm. There were tears, confusion, anger. He asked when I'd known. I told him the truth. That I hadn't gone looking for this, but I couldn't ignore it either. Ending things hurt, but staying would have hurt more. When it was over, I felt hollow and strangely light. I went to Lena the next day. She opened the door, surprised, then worried when she saw my face. I didn't speak. I just stepped inside and held her. She wrapped her arms around me immediately, grounding me. I chose honesty, I whispered into her shoulder. She pulled back just enough to look at me. "And what are you choosing now?" "You," I said. "If you'll have me." Her answer wasn't rushed. She leaned in slowly, kissing me with a tenderness that felt like acceptance. Her hands rested at my back, steady, sure. When she kissed me again, deeper this time, I felt the last of my doubt loosen its grip. We rested our foreheads together, breathing in sync. "Loving you," she said softly, "won't be easy." "I know," I replied, "but it's real." And for the first time, that felt like enough. Being with Lena didn't feel like fireworks every moment. It felt like warmth, steady, grounding, honest. We learned each other slowly, carefully, as if afraid to rush something so precious. Mornings at her place became my favorite. The soft light through the curtains, the smell of coffee, the way she'd brush her fingers through my hair while I pretended to sleep. Sometimes she'd kiss my forehead, sometimes my lips, always gentle, always intentional. One afternoon, we lay on the couch, legs tangled, a movie playing that neither of us watched. I traced invisible patterns on her arm, feeling how relaxed she was beside me. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked quietly. "How we started?" She turned to face me, her hand cupping my cheek. "I regret that you had to hurt," she said. "But not that I found you." Her lips met mine again, slow and unhurried. This kiss wasn't about discovery or urgency. It was about belonging. I melted into it, my hand resting over her heart, feeling its steady rhythm beneath my palm. When she pulled back, she rested her forehead against mine. "This," she whispered, "feels like home." Weeks passed. We moved carefully into the world together, holding hands in quiet places, sharing smiles that didn't need explanation. Sometimes fear crept in, but it never stayed long. Lena always met it with honesty, with patience, with love that didn't ask me to be anything other than myself. One evening, standing on her balcony under the stars, she kissed me again. Soft, lingering, full of promise. I kissed her back, knowing without doubt that this was the love I had been waiting for without realizing it. The passport I'd gone to collect sat forgotten in my bag. I'd already arrived somewhere far more important.